Are you curious about what makes the Hell Angels tick? Well, it's not all leather jackets and roaring engines. There is a whole playbook of principles that keeps this crew running like a well-oiled machine.
I don't buy into that 1%er thing as being bad guys, just fully 100% committed guys to that club.
From how they handle business to the unwritten codes of respect, these principles are the heartbeat of the Hells Angels. So grab a seat and get ready to dive deep into principles that guide the Hells Angels, the underground world of motorcycle club etiquette. Number 1. Members must be voted in. So, you want to know about how someone becomes a Hells Angel? Well, it's not like signing up for a club at school. It is a whole process, and it all starts with being invited to hang around with the club, kind of like being a prospect, but without the full commitment. Then, if the members like what they see and think you have got what it takes, they will vote on whether to make you a full-fledged member. It is like a brotherhood vote. Everyone is going to be on board. And it is not just about riding skills. They're looking for loyalty, respect, and someone who fits in with the club's vibe. So, it is a pretty big deal when someone gets that patch and becomes a Hells Angel. Though long before the vote, it takes several years to forge a prospective member into a fully fledged Hells Angel, even before the official process can begin. In this book, Hell to Pay, Hells Angels versus the $1 Million Rat, Neil Hall says a candidate must have already been personally acquainted with a full member for not less than 5 years until they will even be considered worthy. Number 2. The code of silence is mandatory. All right, imagine you are in the inner circle of the Hells Angels, right? Well, there's this unspoken agreement that what goes down in the club stays in the club. It is like being in a secret society, except the consequences for blabbing are way more serious than just getting grounded. It's all about solidarity and keeping the tight-knit brotherhood intact. So when it comes to the code of silence, it is not just a rule, it is a way of life for these guys. Club meetings are a vital part of the club to discuss all sorts of important business. But what is not talked about is any sort of illegal activity. The club's security is of utmost importance, so these subjects are completely avoided in official discussions, says George Christie, via History. Even though the Hells Angels do not consider themselves a criminal organizations, they still acknowledge that some of their members may be involved in activities outside the law. Because of this, no members are allowed to discuss these outside activities at the club or in any way that would tarnish the reputation of the club. Number 3. Never talk to the media. The media ban in the Hells Angels is like an unwritten rule etched in stone. Picture this. You're part of this tight-knit brotherhood, and suddenly, a reporter comes knocking, wanting to know all about club secrets. Well, you don't just spill the beans. Nope, you shut it down, quick. It is not just about keeping a low profile, it's about protecting the club's image and integrity. So yeah, when it comes to talking to the media, Hells Angels are tighter than a drum. Since they believe that whatever is in the club stays in the club, they consider the media generally a great enemy, not even to disclose any information to them. The Hells Angels do not want their private business to be known publicly, so as a precaution, members are not allowed to talk to the media. This is just another one of the many steps the club takes to retain their secrecy and security. It is important for them to keep personal information about members safe from reporters, but Sonny Barger in his autobiography admits there are other rules and parts of the Hells Angels code that will never be released to the public. In 2009, evidence of the biker club's stance towards the media was on full display at their annual summer rally in Carlton, Minnesota. With around 500 of the notorious bikers in attendance, reporters went to the event but noticed that the Hells Angels would consistently stop talking or turn their backs on the media whenever they were present, according to the Duluth News-Tribune. Number 4. Only men can become club members. So, you're curious about the whole men-only thing in the Hells Angels? Well, it's pretty straightforward. It's a guys' club, plain and simple. Like, imagine your favorite hangout spot, but with a strict no girls allowed policy. It's not about excluding anyone. It's just how things have always been in this particular brotherhood. Plus, the dynamics and traditions are built around that brotherhood vibe. Women are not completely excluded from the club. They can hang out at the clubhouse, especially if they are the wives and girlfriends of members, who are known as old ladies. As an essential part of the lifestyle, these women spend much time with their partners, often on the road as well. And in the early days, old ladies even wore the treasured patches to increase the exposure of the insignia, Barger says. But even respected old ladies can only attend meetings on special occasions because women are not allowed to ever become official members. According to Barger, via British Broadcasting Corporation, the Hells Angels are male chauvinist pigs as far as women are concerned, but we have a right to be because we want to be. The Hells Angels also rely upon women in key positions to gather intelligence on law enforcement agencies and rival gangs. Maybe this is where women being the backbone applies. So, while women might play important roles in the club's support network, when it comes to being full-fledged members, it's strictly a dudes-only affair in the world of the Hells Angels. Number 5. Members cannot join another club or gang. Alright, so you've heard about the Hells Angels and their whole no double-dipping rule, huh? Well, here is the scoop. Once you're in, you're in. It's like signing a lifelong contract, but with a motorcycle club instead of a job. They are all about loyalty, and that means no straying to other clubs or gangs. It's not just about keeping the peace, it is about staying true to the brotherhood. The Hells Angels want their members to be loyal to the club above all else. So just like how they do not want their members taking oaths to serve the law, they also do not want their members loyal to another group. In the past, this rule was so strict that the Hell Members Motorcycle Club did not allow their members to even join the American Motorcyclist Association, says Sonny Barger in his autobiography. The rule is especially true for rival groups that do not have a good relationship with the Angels, which would be many biker gangs. Throughout its existence, the Hell Angels Motorcycle Club has had conflicts with several other clubs, including the Mongols. One of the most brutal incidents in recent memory occurred in 2002, when the two rival groups violently clashed at a Nevada casino and all hell broke loose. The situation was described by George Christie as armies fighting against each other, with the Hells Angels hostile towards all the major clubs along the West Coast. So yeah, if you're thinking of jumping ship to another crew, you might as well kiss your Hells Angels patch goodbye, because that's a one-way ticket out of the club. Number 6. It is all about the bike. A motorcycle club is all about the bike? Yeah, this one is a no-brainer, but it's a rule nevertheless. You must be a Harley-Davidson owner even to be considered as a member. This brotherhood is a way of life, and the type of bike they ride is part of it. It is an investment, but if you want to be considered, make sure you have one of these bad boys. Harley-Davidson are a part of their heritage. They have been riding this bike since they first came on the scene, and they are big-time loyal to the brand. When the club was first formed, Harley-Davidson was selling cheap, easy-to-maintain motorcycles, and it just kind of stuck. Number 7. If it is not Hells Angels, do not wear it. Remember when we said the vest was sacred? There are some rules that go along with that. We are sure you have seen merchandisers that look as if it could have been branded by Hells Angels themselves. However, the club has a no-impression policy which they take very, very seriously. Unless they gave it to you or sold it to you themselves, do not attempt to wear it to make yourself look like one of the boys. You have to earn your gear. Anyone wearing something or impersonating a member of Hells Angels? Let us just say you better hope a member does not catch you wearing it. Number 8. Members always back to their members. Alright, buckle up for a lesson in loyalty straight from the Hells Angels playbook. Picture this. You are cruising down the highway with your crew, wind in your hair, and suddenly, one of your brothers hits a rough patch. Maybe they are in a tussle with another club, or maybe they're facing some heat from the law. Well, you don't just sit back and watch. Nah, you jump right in to have their back, no questions asked. It is like a sacred bond, thicker than blood, where your brothers always come first. Like how soldiers depend on their comrades in battle, the Hells Angels know that other members will always be there for them when in trouble. According to another former Hells Angels president, George Christie, the main rule is to always back other members. The support is there even if it could lead to violent, bloody encounters. Christie learned the importance of this rule before he was even a Hells Angel in 1976. As he tells history, when he was a prospect for the Los Angeles chapter, An outsider with a bad attitude pissed off the club president, known as Old Man John. So John hit him several times and threatened to cut the man's throat with a knife as he looked up at Christie to see his reaction. After seeing in his eyes that Christie was willing to back whatever action John took, the president was satisfied with the recruit. John then cut off the imposter's jacket and kicked him out of the bar. Whether it is riding into the sunset or facing down a storm, in the world of the Hells Angels, you never leave a brother behind. Number 9. Members ride together in formation. All right, let us dive deeper into the world of formation riding with the Hells Angels. It is like being part of a choreographed ballet, but with motorcycles instead of tutus. Each rider has their role, whether it is leading the pack, holding down the middle, or watching the rear. As the fearless leader, the chapter president always rides in the front, even if that places him at the most risk for possible collision. Tradition usually has the vice president traveling next, followed by the road captain and the sergeant of arms. And trust me, it is not just about looking badass, though that's definitely a perk. It's about communication and coordination. However, after the chapter officers, Sonny Barger describes the situation as being much more chaotic. From that point back, it is a free-for-all drag race, jockeying for position. After the first 10 spots are taken, the rest fall back in from there. And obviously, prospects are always at the back of the pack. You are not just riding side by side, you are moving as one, like a pack of wolves cruising through the night. So next time you see those Hells Angels rolling by in perfect formation, just know there's a whole lot of skill, trust, and brotherhood behind those synchronized moves. Number 10. Don't do drugs. Let's face it, the Hells Angels do not have a reputation for being squeaky clean. Throughout their existence, they've made trouble with their business. They have even had celebrity members who have bad reputations, including Rusty Coons and David LaBrava. Yet surprisingly, the one thing they have not done in their business is drugs. Whereas certain other motorcycle gangs have become as closely associated with the drug trade as with bikes, the Hells Angels have a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to illegal substances. Members are strictly forbidden from using them or selling them. If they're caught doing either, they can kiss goodbye to their membership. Number 11. It is important to contribute positively to the society. The softer side of the Hells Angels, the part you might not see on the surface. Yeah, they've got this tough exterior, but deep down, they are all about giving back to the community. While this is not one of the strict 20 Hells Angels rules that should be followed and memorized, it is important to know that the organization has done its part to help. Whether it is organizing charity rides, pitching in for local causes, or just lending a helping hand to someone in need, these guys are not just about leather and motorcycles. They know they're part of something bigger than themselves, and that means making a positive impact wherever they go. So do not let the biker image fool you. The Hells Angels are all about spreading some good vibes and making the world a better place, one ride at a time. Number 12. Don't question their punctuation. If you have ever wondered why there is no apostrophe in Hells Angels, keep it to yourself. Dare question their punctuation, and you are unlikely to receive a very pleasant response. The original founders didn't want an apostrophe in their name, so they simply didn't add one. The site reads, "Missing apostrophe in Hells Angels? Yes, we know that there is an apostrophe missing, but it is you who miss it. We do not." There's another thing that you should know. The organization has a trademark on its name as well as its skull logo. You can't use their punctuation, their name, or anything else without their express permission. If you choose to do so, plan on facing a lawsuit. Number 13. Do not interrupt a meeting. It is tempting to imagine a Hells Angels meeting as one of the most raucous and rowdy places on Earth. In fact, they are very orderly and well-behaved. To make sure things stay civilized, the group follows Robert's Rules of Order, which was written over a century ago to help businesses ensure any meetings run smoothly and along democratic lines. Each meeting has a written agenda that has to be respected, and members are only expected to interrupt if absolutely necessary. Any questions should be raised before the meeting starts so they do not disrupt proceedings. Anyone who breaks the rules by speaking out of turn can expect a $100 fine. Number 14. Showing up to event. This is a hint about the Hells Angels and their approach to events. So one thing they really emphasize is the importance of showing up on any event organized by the club. The Hells Angels do more than just ride bikes. They throw events, lots of them, and as a member, you're obligated to attend unless you have a very, very valid excuse not to. Unless you're on the other side of the world, in a hospital, or dead, failure to show up to a meeting will be taken as a sign of serious disrespect. And if there is one thing you should never do to a Hells Angel, it is show disrespect. There's also something else to be aware of. Events also includes riding. This is, after all, one of the main reasons to join the organizations. Members of Hells Angels are serious about riding, and the average member will ride about 12,000 miles a year. Not sure if you have time to ride that long? You better think about that before even attempting to become a member. Number 15. Members cannot be cops. It's doubtful many police officers would want to risk their reputation by becoming a Hells Angel, but in case there are any, we've got some bad news in store. They can't. There are certain things a Hells Angels charter simply won't accept, and a police uniform is one of them. Prison guards can also forget it. Even if you never became a full-fledged officer, if you took any steps to become one at all, there's no chance you'll ever get into the club. Child molesters and rapists are also banned, although for very different reasons. There is a good reason for this rule. There is a code of silence, so if there are any illegal activities going on within the Brotherhood, they are not to be discussed. Obviously, this could get a cop into serious trouble, so they are simply banned from becoming members. Plus, it avoids any perception of bias or favoritism, which could undermine the credibility and reputation of both the individual member and the club as a whole. Yeah, it is one of those things they take pretty seriously within the Hells Angels community. Number 16. Members cannot be snitches or rats. Alright, so here is the lowdown on the Hells Angels and their stance on being snitches or rats. It is a pretty big deal for them, like a cardinal rule that every member lives by. See, within the club, loyalty is everything. They have got this tight-knit brotherhood where trust and solidarity are paramount. When it comes to interactions with law enforcement or sharing insider information, they're absolutely uncompromising. Being a snitch or a rat is considered the ultimate betrayal, not just to the club, but to the entire brotherhood. It's seen as undermining the core values they stand for, and can have serious consequences. By enforcing this rule, they maintain a code of silence that fosters trust among members and protects the integrity of the club. It is all about standing together no matter what, and keeping their affairs within the club's circle of trust. So yeah, if you are part of the Hells Angels, being a snitch is definitely off the table. It is just not how they roll. Number 17. Members and applicants need to pay dues. It is kind of like being part of a club or organization where everyone chips in to keep things running smoothly, helps cover expenses and support the activities they're involved in, you know? The Hells Angels aren't just a motorcycle club, and according to Fortune, the bike clubs of the United States, and their international branches, have been operating as businesses for a long time. In 2017, McLean spoke with Dave "Shaky" Atwell, a former Hells Angel turned police informant. He gave a fascinating look at what goes on behind the closed doors that are usually off-limits to outsiders, including what prospects and members were expected to contribute to the club. Atwell said that illegal activities aside, club members paid regular dues. Even more surprising, they were also expected to contribute by selling the club's merchandise, which seems like a weird thing. Atwell explained, "It was very corporate. It was about being a cog in a money-making machine." He was not talking about $20 a week dues either. When he turned informant, the law enforcement officers he was working with gave him a stipend to cover the expenses he incurred as a Hells Angel. It amounted to a shocking $1,850 each and every week, which covered all his dues and all other expenses that came with being a full member of the club. Number 18. They all pull over together. Absolutely. Within the Hells Angels, there is this strong bond where members collaborate on various projects and initiatives. They are like a well-oiled machine, whether it is riding together on the open road or coming together to support a common cause. It's all about unity and solidarity, making them a formidable force in whatever they set out to accomplish. Since the Hells Angels have a particular order to maintain, if one of them gets pulled over by a cop, they all stop. Sticking together not only helps keep everyone in their place, but also signifies how the brotherhood is linked like family. If you mess with one Hell's Angel, you mess with them all. People are not too likely to start trouble with a huge mass of bikers around who have a history of being tough. Whether it is organizing events, supporting each other, or just hanging out, they've got each other's backs. It's all about that sense of brotherhood and camaraderie, you know? Number 19. Once a Hell's Angel, always a Hell's Angel. Within the Hell's Angels, there's this fundamental principle. Once you're a member, you're considered part of the brotherhood for life. It's not just a casual affiliation. It is a deep-rooted commitment that lasts indefinitely. This, once a Hell's Angel, always a Hell's Angel rule underscores the strong bonds of loyalty and camaraderie within the club. Once you've earned your patch and become a full-fledged member, you're essentially joining a family, and that bond doesn't diminish over time. Even if a member decides to step back from active involvement in club activities or move on to other pursuits, they're still regarded as part of the Hell's Angels family. This enduring sense of brotherhood is a cornerstone of the club's identity, fostering trust, solidarity, and a shared sense of purpose among its members. The Hell's Angels spend a ton of time together, and members have already known one another for years by the time they join. When one of them passes away, everyone unites to honor the memory of their fallen brother. So it's not just about being a member for a period of time. It's a lifelong commitment to the values and principles of the Hell's Angels, binding members together in a bond that transcends time and circumstance. Number 19. Participate in charity event and toy drive. Absolutely. So here's the scoop. While the Hell's Angels might have a tough exterior, they've got big hearts when it comes to giving back to their communities. One of the ways they do this is by participating in various events and charity initiatives, including toy drives. Who would believe such a cannibal of people could be this generous? Stateside, Hell's Angels members are expected to participate in toy drives around the holidays, like the one that must have scared the bejesus out of Walmart shoppers in Fresno, California a few years back. In 2015, Consumer News and Business Channel reported that the Hell's Angels started camping outside the store 5 days before the holiday rush kicked off. When it did, they bought all the bikes the store had, as a donation to a local homeless shelter. During these events, you will often see members of the Hell's Angels rallying together, collecting toys, and spreading holiday cheer to children in need. It is a testament to their commitment to making a positive impact beyond their own circles. It is a chance for them to show their softer side and connect with the community in a meaningful way. Their involvement in charity toy drives also helps dispel some of the misconceptions surrounding motorcycle clubs like the Hell's Angels. It highlights their willingness to support worthy causes and contribute to the betterment of society, proving that there's more to them than meets the eye. So yeah, next time you hear about a toy drive or community event, don't be surprised if you see some Hell's Angels rolling up with armfuls of toys and big smiles on their faces. It is all part of their efforts to give back and make a positive difference in the world around them. Number 20. Cultural diversity is not accepted by some charter. Here is something to know about the Hell's Angels. While they are known for their strong bonds, there might be some differences in how cultural diversity is embraced across different chapters. It is not always a smooth ride when it comes to acceptance of folks from diverse backgrounds. You see, within any organization, there are bound to be varying attitudes and perspectives. Some chapters might be more open to cultural diversity, while others could be a bit more traditional or closed off. It is kind of like how different groups or communities can have their own ways of doing things, you know? So yeah, while the Hell's Angels as a whole might have a certain reputation, it is important to recognize that each chapter can have its own vibe and approach to things like cultural diversity. It's all part of the rich tapestry of human experiences and attitudes that make up our world. Number 21. Prospects cannot retaliate again hazing. You know, it is a bit of a tough spot for prospects in the Hell's Angels when it comes to hazing. While it's a tradition for prospects to go through some initiation rituals, retaliating against hazing isn't really encouraged. It is like a rite of passage that they are expected to endure without causing any trouble. See, the Hell's Angels place a lot of importance on loyalty and respect within their ranks. Retaliating against hazing could be seen as a sign of disrespect or an inability to handle the challenges that come with being a prospect. Plus, It is kind of a test to see if they've got what it takes to be a full-fledged member. So, while it might be tempting to fight back, most prospects understand that it's just part of the process. They are expected to tough it out and prove their commitment to the club, even if it means enduring some rough treatment along the way. It is all about earning their place within the brotherhood. Number 22. Never allow patches to be destroyed. Here is something interesting about the Hells Angels. Their patches are like sacred symbols within the club. It's a big deal. You do not mess with them. See, those patches represent membership, loyalty, and brotherhood. So destroying a patch is seen as a major disrespect to the club and its members. One of the things that is publicly known is the importance put on their patches. It is more than just about wearing them everywhere, and Cher says the vests are sacred. In other words, don't touch them. Cher says that there are even protocols that say what happens to vests when a member gets arrested, and says that instead of having anyone else touch the vest, members will give it to one of their brothers to take care of. According to School Management and Development Committee Health Systems Manager John Jordan, it goes even farther than that. He said that they needed to get a crash course in the special considerations of caring for a Hells Angel in case of an emergency or accident, and was informed that the typical procedures of cutting through a patient's clothing to get to an injury, rather than move them and risk doing more damage, didn't apply. In a nutshell, it is just not something you do if you want to stay on good terms with the Hells Angels. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.